Welcome to our event, Feminist Innovation in Monitoring and Evaluation, the contribution of young and emerging evaluators. We are delighted and honored that each one of you, panelists and participants, decided to join this event today within the great variety of inspiring events that are happening during this week, the Glocal Evaluation Week on its 2025 edition. During this event, we will share with each one of you the Feminist Innovation in Monitoring and Evaluation projects that will be developed by 6 young and emerging evaluators that were granted with the FIME Small Award for Young and Emerging Evaluators. These 6 young evaluators were selected out of more than 280 proposals received for the award, so we are very happy to celebrate the selection and the kickoff of the projects with each one of you today. The Feminist Innovation in M&E Small Grant for Young and Emerging Evaluators is implemented jointly by the Global Evaluation Initiative and EvalGender Plus, with the generous support of Global Affairs Canada. This effort, as I told you, has awarded 6 young and emerging evaluators from different countries, from different regions that are currently developing their projects. You are going to hear today more detail about these projects, but before we get to know the awardees, please let me thank all the people that have been involved in this process, our reference group from the Feminist Innovation and Monitoring and Evaluation Project, and our selection committee. I know some of you in the audience are here today, so thank you very much to Silvia Grandi, thank you very much to Elena Bardassi, to Florencia, Tateossian, and many others that have been involved. With this, I am going to ask my colleague Megan to please help us see the greetings from our program manager, Dugan Fraser.
Hello everyone, I'm Dugan Fraser. I'm the Program Manager of the Global Evaluation Initiative. It's my pleasure to join you today and to share how excited we are at the GEI to support work in feminist evaluation. This is an area that speaks very directly to our mission, which is to make evaluation more relevant, more inclusive, and transformative. We're really delighted to be collaborating with our strategic partners, EvalGender Plus and Global Affairs Canada, to support young and emerging evaluators who are leading the way globally in advancing gender equality and social justice. I want to offer a big congratulations to Rai, Mahesh, Taieba, Aidai, Neema, and Lizette. We celebrate your very well-deserved recognition and the successful launch of your innovative projects. You're helping to shape the future of evaluation, and we can't wait to see the knowledge, tools, and stories that will emerge from your work. To everyone watching, stay tuned. These promising young evaluators have much to share, and their contributions are bound to inspire all of us.
Well, as you see at GEI, from Dugan and all the team are very excited about what's coming out from the work you are doing. So I echo him on his congratulations. And with this, I want to pass the microphone to our colleague, Florencia Tateossian. Florencia is the co-leader of the EvalGender Plus group, and they're the implementing partner that's helping us make this FIME Small Award for Young and Emerging Evaluators possible. So please, Florencia, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you very much. And I'm also very excited to be here today. So I represent EvalGender Plus, as the network to really advance feminist evaluation. And for us, this is really a true honor to actually partner with the GEI and with Global Affairs Canada and to make this round of global awardees possible. We have done this before as EvalGender Plus alone. And so now being able to partner with these great partners is really an honor, and we're very happy about that. I'm also very excited to hear from Rai, Taieba, Mahesh, Neema, Aidai, and Lisette, and very excited to see how your innovative ideas are going to help us move forward feminist evaluation, move forward the quest for more evidence to help us understand what is happening in the world with relation to gender equality and how we can actually achieve that equality that we are also eager to get to. So thank you so much, Claudia, and everyone.
Thank you, Florencia. And not only thank you for being here and sharing your greetings, but also thank you for your very committed participation through all the process and through the implementation of the Feminist Innovation in M&E project. So now the most important part, what everyone is waiting for, we are going to introduce you to the young and emerging evaluators that are going to develop these projects. They're very interesting projects. Each one of them is going to let you know a bit more about them, so I will be very brief. But we have Sengupta, and Rai is an evaluation consultant with the UNICEF Evaluation Office. We have Taieba Hosne, she's an impact and policy evaluation specialist. We have Mahesh Krishnan, that Mahesh is a policy professional specializing in gender responsive evaluation and social and behavior change strategies. We have Neema Nnko, that Neema is a dedicated young and emerging evaluator with a master's degree in project planning. And she's currently working at the Institute of Rural Development Planning as a tutorial assistant. We have Aidai Algozhoeva. Aidai is a program manager and civic education specialist from Kyrgyzstan. And we have Lisette Zambrano. She's a statistician with a master's degree in big data and analysis and visualization, working from Ecuador. So with this, I will pass the microphone to our first panelist, that is going to be Rai Sengupta, to share about her project. So Rai, please, the floor is yours, and you have 6 minutes to share your project.
Thank you so much, Claudia. I'll quickly share my screen. So my name is Rai Sengupta, as Claudia has introduced me, and I will be speaking about my project, which is From Insights to Action, Advancing Feminist Evaluation Innovations in Crisis Contexts. So beginning with a bit about who I am and what does this project connect to in terms of my background. So this is who I am, and I just wanted to kind of prepare a little sort of pictorial representation of who I am before I kind of get into my positionality and what I perceive in terms of feminist evaluations. My name is Rai Sengupta. I am a young feminist evaluator based in New Delhi, India. I currently work with the UNICEF Evaluation Office. I come from a family of very strong women, including my mother and my sister. So I've grown up with very strong feminist values as well. And I come with the experience of conducting evaluations using feminist and participatory evaluation approaches over the last 6+ years. Many of the projects I've worked with have focused very sharply on gender, on women's empowerment, on feminist approaches, including women and child development in India, maternal nutrition in Myanmar, gender-based violence programs in Zimbabwe, and digital programs to prevent violence against women and children in Tanzania. So as you can see, gender is a very important thread that binds my entire evaluation journey. Apart from my day-to-day career in evaluation, I'm also very passionate about giving back to the field. So I'm very committed to capacity building in feminist approaches, and I've led workshops on feminist MEL and on gender analysis for 25+ women-led organizations and women's rights organizations globally. So this is just a photographic sort of and pictorial representation of what this means to me. And as you can see, there are many strong women in this photo who have shaped the way I've also kind of perceived and interacted with feminist evaluation processes. Let's go a bit about the project and why it's important. So my project's relevance stems from the fact that crises deepen inequalities. And when there is a crisis, then it severely impacts women, girls, and marginalized groups more severely than others. At the same time, when there's an emergency, it creates a context wherein women's voices and the voices of girls tend to be excluded from evaluation processes due to challenges in accessing them, due to issues in terms of them voicing their opinions freely, fairly, equitably. So that's one part of the story. On the other side, there is limited consolidated knowledge on innovative feminist evaluation practices in crisis contexts. And this is a this is sort of like an evidence gap. Evaluators need practical, adaptable tools to apply feminist principles effectively in complex emergency settings. So at one end, we have crises which obviously disproportionately affect women and girls who are excluded from decision-making processes and evaluation processes. On the other hand, there is limited consolidated knowledge on how feminist evaluation practices have been applied and how these can be operationalized via a toolkit. And that is exactly the gap that my project seeks to address. And let's talk a bit about the project methodology and what the project is essentially about. So my project essentially seeks to conduct a synthesis of feminist evaluation innovations in crisis contexts, and then create a practitioner-informed toolkit based on that synthesis. So it's a two-part sort of project, thereby fulfilling some of the gaps I spoke about in the previous slide. My project will be developed in 4 stages. The first one will be the evidence synthesis, where evaluations for the past 5 years in crisis contexts, focusing on feminist evaluation approaches will be identified, data will be extracted, analyzed thematically to identify key feminist evaluation innovations, challenges, and lessons. In the second stage, I'll be working with a co-design phase where the findings from the synthesis will be shared in online workshops with feminist evaluators and women rights organizations and women-led organization representatives. Feedback will be gathered to validate results and to shape the content and format of the forthcoming toolkit. The third stage is toolkit development, where a practical toolkit will be developed, guided by earlier findings and feedback from the previous stage. This will include principles, methods, case studies, and tools to foster feminist evaluation innovations. And the final step is finalization and dissemination, wherein after feedback from GEI, the final edits will be incorporated into the deliverables, which will then be prepared for dissemination to feminist evaluators, to women rights organizations, to women-led organizations, evaluation networks in crisis-affected contexts. So as you can see, it's a 4-part process. The first being synthesis, the second being co-design, where participatory methods will very much form a part of the overall process. The third being the toolkit being developed based on step 1 and step 2. And finally, finalization and dissemination, wherein all of these deliverables will be finalized and disseminated through the relevant networks working for evaluation in crisis contexts. Finally, what will be the key products that will be emerging from this project? So there will be 3 key products that will emerge from this entire project. The first one is the synthesis itself. So it will be a rigorous and comprehensive synthesis of feminist evaluation practices in crisis contexts, which will highlight feminist evaluation innovations and key lessons across various sectors and regions. That's one. The second one will be a co-created, practitioner-informed toolkit featuring various actionable and adaptable resources to help evaluators apply feminist evaluation practices during crisis. And the final and third product will be a report documenting the overall learning process, including reflections on the consultative and participatory processes and approaches employed throughout the project. So again, 3 separate deliverables, the first being the evidence synthesis, the second being the toolkit, which will be informed by the synthesis, and the third being an overall report that will document the learning process. So with that in mind, that's my project, and I would be very, very keen to hear about the others, which my 5 other co-awardees have also been going to be talking about. Thank you so much for joining, and yeah, looking forward to the rest of the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rai. I can't wait for those products to be available. I think I will use them on my own evaluation practice. So thank you very much for sharing all those details. For those of you in the audience, please use the Q&A section to add your comments or questions, and we will have a short time, but a very important time to address them at the end of the presentations. So with this, I'm going to pass the microphone now to Neema and Nnko. Neema, please, the floor is yours. Please remember you have 6 minutes, Neema.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Neema Nnko from United Republic of Tanzania, and I'm here to present my project titled Empowering Maasai Women through Participatory Monitoring and Evaluation. feminist insights from Ngorongoro to Handeni relocation. Who is Neema? I am a trainer, researcher, and evaluation consultant from United Republic of Tanzania. And I was born and raised in the northern part of the country, in Arusha region, where is the home of the Maasai tribe. From an early age, I witnessed the Maasai women life, challenge and experience they face and hardworking they are, and how much they help and support the communities. So due to this experience inspired me to take part in this project. Relevance of the project. First of all, in the literature, there is gap on evaluation. There is gap of information about the relocation. So through this project, we are going to expand the feminist evaluation knowledge based with empirical evidence from relocation experiences. Also, this project is going to elevate Maasai women's voice through participatory evaluation tools. Also, through this project, it will generate a real-time actionable data that strengthens gender responsiveness planning. Methodology. This study will employ a feminist participatory evaluation approach while integrating participatory methods such as community-led storytelling and photo voice, focus group discussions, and observation. What are the main outputs? After completion of this project, it will deliver the following. First is gender-sensitive policy brief with actionable recommendation. That is, this project will tell the police in the future relocation how relocation should be done on the future. Also, it will produce a participatory M&D toolkit tailored for use in gender-responsive relocation projects. Also, it will strengthen local evaluators' capacity on conducting ongoing participatory assessment. This project will strengthen the local women evaluator capacity on how to conduct ongoing participatory assessments. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Neema, for sharing. I can't wait either for your project to be implemented and to hear more about the Maasai women and their relocation experience from your eyes and from the experience of your project. Thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you.
And with this, I will pass the microphone to our third presenter today, who is Taieba Hosne. Taieba, please, the microphone is yours.
Thank you so much, Claudia. Hello, everyone. Good morning or evening, depending on where in the world you are joining us from today. It's like a true honor to be here presenting my project today. My name is Taieba Hosne Ishrat. I was born and raised in Bangladesh, a place where women's labor sustains families, communities, and most importantly, economies, but they often go underpaid or uncounted or even unseen. I carry the lived experience of gendered invisibility and a deep awareness that development narratives have long been written about us, but it's like it was rarely by us. That positionality has shaped everything I do and everything I'll keep on doing. Over the past decade, I've led more than 100 plus program evaluations across Asia and Africa, from Bangladesh to Cambodia and Kenya to Vietnam. My work so far has spanned across sectors that includes microfinance, health systems, education, climate resilience, and many more. And across all this, my core commitment has been so far the same, making impact measurement meaningful for those who are like most affected by social inequality. Most recently, I served as the Vice President of Impact Assessment at IIS, where I actually led the first orange bond of the world, which was focused on gender equality. And I've also led the impact measurement of Women's Livelihood Bond Series, which is a multi-million-dollar portfolio reaching hundreds and thousands of women and girls across Asia and Africa. My academic background wise, I recently completed my master's in evidence-based social intervention and policy evaluation from the University of Oxford, where actually I had the privilege to deepen my evaluation capacity, like both from a quantitative and qualitative perspective. So whatever I'm trying to do through this project is not actually professional, it's deeply personal, because I grew up seeing women's work like going unnoticed even after so rigorous evaluation. That's when I came up with this idea of general social return on investment, or in short, I'm calling it G-SROI. So let's dig into the project. Why G-SROI, or what is exactly G-SROI? Across my work, I've seen a persistent gap. The most meaningful outcomes of gender transformative programs like increased agency, joint decision making, or even reduced violence are often going missing from impact reports. But why? Why is this the case? Because the tools we use weren't built to capture them. Traditional SROI framework, which is an amazing tool to capture actually the quantitative part of impact, but that actually prioritizes what's easily monetized. But change in the intangible, like power shift, cultural norm, and intergenerational resilience, that often goes underreported. Rarely do these frameworks account for the invisible burdens women carry. For example, like the emotional toll or mental stress and social pressure that female loan takers face from MFIs while navigating date in a patriarchal system. We hardly get to report them or account for them. G-SROI is a feminist, participatory, and intersectional reimagination of SRY. It centers what truly matters to communities and transforms how value is measured, reported, and scaled. Because what we choose to measure actually determines what gets funded at the end of the day, and what gets valued and what gets actually left behind. So finally, the methodology, in very brief, G-SROI is built through 6 core steps. The first will be a rigorous literature review and gap analysis. I'll analyze existing SROI frameworks and feminist evaluation methods to identify what's missing. Things like autonomy, norm change, shared decision making, and violence reduction whenever we are conducting such evaluations. Step 2 will be a stakeholder co-creation through story circles and participatory workshop, either virtual or in person. We'll work directly with women and indigenous groups. These engagements will help us to survey lived experiences that actually often traditional tools overlook. Finally, step 3 will be indicator development. We will be selecting indicators from the existing set of indicators, because we all know there have been decades of work behind all this. So we will be referring those, we'll be studying those, and with some major or minor tweaking, we'll pick our indicators, for example, percentage of women reporting joint decision making on finances or mobility, or percentage of girls who feel safe walking to the school even after dark. So we will be carefully selecting these indicators for monetization for the next step of our framework. In the next step, we will do our feminist evaluation. That will be well-being evaluation, converting life satisfaction gains into economic value. So the indicators we will be picking, we will be selecting proxy indicators for those. And then finally, we will be converting those indicators towards a monetary value, so that at the end of the day, we get that solid SROI value for our framework. And then in step 5, we'll do our mapping for our ripple effect using participatory tools. We will trace how an intervention, say a women's cooperative, ripple outward to influence local norm, policy, or even future generation. And finally, the final step will be piloting. We will test and refine tools in different contexts. So the initial and immediate goal is to test this toolkit within Asia. So I'll try to test it within Southeast Asia. And in the long term, I also have this vision to test it in other contexts, so that it can be a well-recognized and well-adaptable tool all over the world. Finally, G-SROI is just not a framework, it's a feminist intervention in how impact is defined and valued. First, this project will offer a validated G-SROI framework, evidence-based and shaped by lived experiences. Second, it will provide a practitioner toolkit, including participatory matrices, feminist proxy indicators, survey templates for whoever wants to use these later, interview guides and non-change tools for later use cases. Finally, it will deliver a scaling and policy advocacy roadmap. For example, a custom pathways for INGOs, donors, or governments with advocacy briefs that aim to reshape what gets funded, reported, and prioritized at the end. Together, these tools return power to the community, ensuring that feminist work is not only done, but truly counted, measured, and valued. So that's all about my project in very brief. I'm really grateful to be here today talking about my project, and I cannot wait to get this project done and disseminated and to share it with the world. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to hear from the other awardees.
Thank you, Taieba, for letting us know a little bit more about you and about this super innovative and interesting project that you're going to develop. So now, with this, I'm going to pass the microphone to our next speaker, who is Aidai Algozhoeva. Aidai, I hope I pronounce your name well. You correct me if not, and the floor is yours. Please remember you have 6 minutes.
Thank you very much. Today, I'm going to present you my project. It is titled An Adaptive Toolkit of Feminist and Decolonial Evaluations to Empower Local Communities in Kyrgyzstan. Let me briefly share about my positionality and who I am. My name is Aidai. I am from Kyrgyzstan, which is a post-Soviet country in Central Asia. I was born in a small town near this lake on the right, and at the age of 16, I moved to Bishkek, which is the capital of our country. So I may say that I was shaped by both post-colonial and patriarchal societies. Today, I am a project manager at the think tank in Kyrgyzstan, which is with the main focus on historical memory and research. I'm also a wife and a mother, trying to navigate the daily challenges of being the part of my family and with my professional and personal values. I live in intersection of tradition and change, striving to honor my conservative part of my family with such values as decoloniality, feminism, gender equality, and civic education. It is not always easy to balance it, but this mix of experiences shapes who I am and the work I do. Let me move on to the relevance of this project. This project emerged out of the conversation with my peers. I work in the mid-sized research center in Kyrgyzstan, and in my 6 years of experience working there, we never undergo the monitoring and evaluation process. And if I tell now my colleagues and my teammates that we are going to do the monitoring and evaluation, they will be quite stressed and anxious about the process and the outcomes. This is the one part of the problem that I would like to outline. The other one is about the gender perspective. When I write proposals and manage the programs, I often include the gender perspective to the activities we implement. But unfortunately, the donors and the partners' expectations are not always match the ideas of local and community-centered ideas and approach that I think are relevant for local development. So the local feminist views rooted in Kyrgyz culture, in Central Asian culture, are often ignored, which leads to the use of outside feminist ideas in projects that can cause a backlash in our communities. Okay, let's move on to the project itself. I will briefly tell you about the methodology and approach that we're going to rely on during implementing this project idea. The first one is the co-creating or collaborative approach. Implementing this project, we will consult with a variety of feminist and decolonial scholars and activists from Central Asia. For example, it is Sinat Sultanalieva. She is the author of the intersectionality feminism idea here in Kyrgyzstan. And we are going to consult her on how we can apply local feminism in our toolkit. And also it is Muharram Toktogulova. She's a Kyrgyz language specialist, and we will consult her on how we can use our vocabulary, how we can change the formal vocabulary and make it understandable for local communities. As well as we will consult with the grassroots program managers and community leaders, as I believe that the most important ideas comes from the grassroots initiatives and grassroots managers. The second part is priority during the implementing of this project will be given to the center, to the local knowledge and storytelling practices. When we conduct our seminars and sessions, I always use decolonial exercises. And we think that these exercises will be integrated into a practical guide, into the content of this toolkit to ensure that it's relevant and cultural resonance. And the third part, which is, I think, one of the most important parts and components of the project is learning by doing. It is not just a project to implement, it is a research journey. It's about rethinking, reflecting, and discussing, transforming, changing, with relying on our lived experiences and consultation with grassroots community leaders. The shortly about toolkit characteristic, it will be in Kyrgyz language, but it also will be translated into English and Russian languages. It will have visual and interactive formats, and it will be quite adaptable and very short to make sure that it's easy and interesting to use. The final thing is what will be the outcome. The outcome will be that we will have a very adaptable, very illustrated, interactive monitoring and evaluation toolkit that will promote the sense of ownership, inclusivity, and empowerment. And it also will include the feminism, local feminist optics, and decolonial perspectives. And I just wanted to try to think of this toolkit not as about something very complex and overly resource heavy, but something like Montessori toolkit, very modular, very intuitive in a reasonable way, and empowering for communities to use and adapt on their own terms. Thank you very much. So this is my email if you have any advices or questions. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Aidai. It's so nice to get to know a little bit more about you and what inspires this project. I can't wait to see it, as it seems super relevant and useful. And I love it that you're speaking about local feminist perspectives and local uses from a decolonial way. I think that inspires all of us to keep always that lens on. So thank you very much for sharing. And with this, I am going to pass the microphone to our next speaker, who is Lisette Zambrano. Lisette is going to deliver her presentation in Spanish. So for those of you that are not Spanish speakers, please, you can turn on the interpretation using the interpretation icon, and you are going to be able to hear and understand very well what Lisette is sharing. So Lisette, with this, I pass the microphone to you. Remember, you have 6 minutes, please.
Bueno, un gusto con todos y
Well,
todas
it's a
estar
pleasure to
aquí
be here
en
in
este
this
espacio.
space.
En este caso voy a
In this case, I
presentar
am going to
lo que
present what is,
sería,
in my
en mi
case,
caso,
the
el
project.
proyecto de midiendo
Measuring the
datos.
data.
En
In
este
this case, we are
caso,
going to
nosotros
present and.
vamos a presentar y,
Well, a little
bueno,
bit to
un
give you
poco para darles
context in this case.
contexto. En este caso, el proyecto tiene como nombre Midiendo el Cambio, herramientas
The
para
project
evaluar y
is called
fortalecer políticas
Measuring Change, Tools to Evaluate and Strengthen Gender
de
Policies from a
género.
Feminist Perspective.
¿Cuál es mi propósito o cuál es el
What is my
posición
purpose
que
or
yo
what is the
tengo en este
position that I have at the moment?
proyecto?
Well, as I introduced myself earlier, I'm Lisette Zambrano.
Soy ingeniera en
I am a
estadística
statistical
y
engineer with a master's degree in data analysis.
he trabajado en varios proyectos como asistente de
I have worked on
investigación,
several projects as a
revisando
research
fuentes de
assistant,
datos,
reviewing
para
data sources for the construction and
desarrollo
development
de
of plans,
planes,
for data management
para
as
la
such.
gestión de datos como tal. Soy actualmente asistente técnica de
I am
Fundación
currently a
Data Lab,
technical assistant at
y
the Data
además
Lab
me identifico
Foundation, and I
con
also identify methodologies.
metodologías participativas en procesos de divulgación de datos,
Participatory methodologies in data dissemination
y más,
processes,
¿no?
development
Más o
of
menos
files, and
esa es
others,
la
not
contribución
based
que
on my
como tal hacer
experience.
esta herramienta o crear esta herramienta y metodologías
The
para
contribution to
evaluación
strengthen this tool or
nace
create this
como
tool
tal
and
de una
methodologies for evaluation is born as such from this
que
feminist
implica
perspective.
la creación
Feminist,
para
the key it is to make
visibilizar la
inequalities visible and
desigualdades y
promote real
promover
transformations.
transformaciones reales. La contribución que doy para la iniciativa como tal es que centrando en el desarrollo de un conjunto de herramientas con metodologías e indicadores, materiales.
The contribution I make to the initiative as such is that by focusing on the development of a set of tools with methodologies and material indicators, within training to improve the collection, analysis, and thus promote as such the evaluation in which they are in gender policies. Why is this project important? It is important because many institutions have gender policies. But in this case they lack the appropriate tools to evaluate the real impact. Traditional assessments do not consider feminist or intersectional approaches, which limits their effectiveness as such when evaluating. It addresses three key needs: lack of methodology, with my feminist approach, scarcity or little technical capacity for the value of gender policies and absence of indicators that reflect the queen inequalities. In addition, the opportunity arises from the identification that there is no clear way to evaluate national plans. For example, in Ecuador there is a national plan for diversities, aimed at the LGBTI population more. For that reason, that the contact or this relationship that we have managed to maintain with the Ministry of Women and Human Rights makes this project seek this contribution and strengthen that capacity, not only in this specific ministry, but at the level of public institutions. What is the methodology I will use? In this project, a set of tools will be developed to evaluate gender policy action plans from the perspective, as I mentioned, feminist and intersectional, through a participatory and structured process that will have 6 key stages. In this case it is the literature review, or bibliographic review, the development of a methodological framework, including principles, components, indicators, data collection formats and monitoring mechanisms. As a third step is the tool design, which consists of 2 out of 2 guides or 2 documents, a training manual for evaluation teams and a methodological guide, with technical indicators, templates and report formats for presentation, evaluation and monitoring. As a fourth step, the validation of stakeholders through participatory sessions with gender experts, evaluators and institutional representatives, both from civil society, academia and the public sector. Practical application in a public institution to test, refine and improve the tools. In this case it will be an experimentation or a work session with the ministry mentioned above, which is the Ministry of Women and Human Rights, but with scalability or a future relationship with the Prefecture of Manabi in Ecuador, and with the National Institute of Statistics and Sex. As a sixth step is the finalization and dissemination of the toolbox, based on the feedback that was obtained and the lessons learned, thus guaranteeing the use, as I mentioned, not only of the public sector, but also of academia and civil society in Latin America and the Caribbean. Finally, what are the key results of the project?
El proyecto genera resultados concretos y el producto clave que fortalecerán las capacidades institucionales, proveerá la evaluación más inclusiva y efectiva de las políticas.
The project generates concrete results, and the key output that will strengthen institutional capacities will provide the most inclusive and effective evaluation of gender policies. These expected results are intended to not only strengthen technical capacities, but also to be able to evaluate and monitor the gender policies that institutions have, with an intersectional and feminist approach. And greater availability of practical tools at the institutional level in Ecuador and potential application in Latin America and the Caribbean. What are the key points? It is the training manual for evaluation teams, the methodological guide with validated indicators, and the guide to pilot how it is applied. How is this evaluation and monitoring implemented? How it is implemented. In this way, these tools will be more sustainable, adaptable in different sectors and aligned with the objectives of gender equality and human rights, thus satisfying feminist theory with the technical practice of evaluation, monitoring, and learning. And in this way, change his thinking or how he evaluates the institutions and the evaluation teams. Thank you very much, and I am open to any questions.
Muchas gracias a ti, Lisette. Voy a pasar a inglés ahora. I'm going to switch to English. Thank you very much for sharing. It's a pleasure to see how you're going to develop this project in an institutional level, where we're working hardly to strengthen national M&E systems and the possibility to install gender and feminist evaluation practices in those spaces is a shared dream by many of the people that are attending today this webinar. So congratulations, and keep up the good work as all your colleagues. And with this, I am going to pass the microphone to our last project presenter, our last awardee, who is Rajesh Krishnan. Mahesh, please, the microphone is yours. Remember, you have 6 minutes to share.
Hi, everyone. First of all, it's a great honor to have the opportunity to speak with in front of such eminent individuals. And I'm deeply grateful and proud that I'm a recipient of the FIME Small Award. So my project is titled Enhancing Evaluator Capacities, Addressing the Technical and Gender Responsive Training Needs in Asia Pacific. So before delving deeper into the details of the project, let me introduce myself a bit. I have a master's in public policy from the National Law School and a bachelor's in actuarial science. I'm currently a core team member at the Gender and Equity Network South Asia, and I'm also working as a political consultant. I'm also a former evaluation and research intern with UN Women. So I'm deeply passionate about feminism and feminist movement, and in particular, transformation of social norms. So this is rooted in my non-binary identity, where I have, due to which I have felt and experienced that restrictive gender norms are a big barrier to growth and development of the society. And therefore, throughout my career, my focus was on communication strategy, social and behavior change strategy, political research, narrative analysis, semiotic analysis, and gender responsive evaluation. And as you may know, localization and cultural analysis is a key aspect of social and behavior change strategy, which I will be focusing on this particular project. So this project is essentially looks at how evaluators in Asia Pacific region are trained. especially related to gender-related competency. The project will analyze the existing training programs, compare them, talk to experts to find out the existing gaps, particularly in meeting the local and cultural needs. The relevance of this project is because it responds to the demand of skilled evaluators in the Asia Pacific region. Secondly, advances regionally grounded and decolonized gender transformative methodologies aligned with feminist evaluation principles and local socio-political realities. Thirdly, it gives voice to marginalized and local voices in evaluation by promoting culturally attuned training models. And the fourth reason is that it provides evidence-based guidance for institution donors, training bodies to design contextually relevant programs. So here's the methodology. So the project would start with a literature review to develop a conceptual framework to identify key competencies. Secondly, I would be guided by two advisory groups, one consisting of a peer network and the second consisting of eminent global evaluation experts. And thirdly, I would be conducting a landscape analysis. So it's a purposive review of gender evaluation training programs in the Asia Pacific region, analyzed across geographic context, institutional context, and the thematic focus. So geographic context, as in I'll be looking at training programs designed just for the Asia Pacific region, and one's on a global context that is given that which trainings are given to the evaluators in Asia Pacific region. Secondly, the institutional context, it implies that I'll be looking at UN and non-UN training programs, including academic institution, professional training, etc. And then the thematic focus would be on gender trainings on gender evaluation, and there would be some trainings that are designed for evaluation in general, but they are imparted to gender evaluators, and then other trainings that are just focusing on gender, but then it is like a complementary training to evaluators. The fourth one is a competency mapping. This will benchmark the curriculum outline of selected programs. It will assess the alignment with regional capacity demands and decolonization and localization needs in competencies. And the fifth one would be stakeholder consultations. It would include key informant interviews to validate findings and accuracy and contextual relevance. So the key output of the project is to develop a framework for regional competency-based curriculum that strengthens evaluator capacity in gender transformative methodologies. So that's it, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mahesh, and congratulations for this work. For sure, strengthening capacities is one of the spaces that we can highly contribute to making changes that are very, very scalable at different spaces. So thanks for sharing. Thanks for the good work that you're implementing. We can't wait to see the results and also use them. Now, after hearing all these super interesting projects and hoping that we soon have the products available, I want to pass the microphone to two commenters that are going to share their views on this project. The first one is Dr. Florence Etta. Florence is part of the Feminist Innovation in M&E project reference group, and she's a very, very well-renowned evaluator and gender expert. She's a former chair of AFREA and a former chair of ACDEN, the Africa Gender and Development Evaluators Network, among many other evaluation thinking leadership positions that she had during her career. So Florence, it's an honor to have you here today sharing comments about these projects with the generosity that characterizes the way you work. So please, Florence, the microphone is yours. You have 5 minutes.
Great. Thank you so much, Claudia, firstly, for inviting me. I am delighted, absolutely delighted, inspired. I am so excited about all the projects that I've heard. But let me, like you say, I'm borrowing this from all of you millennials and Gen Zs. Let me give you my positionality, as you say. We never learned this when I was going to school, but I am Nigerian, sitting in New York, just moved here not too long ago. I am evaluator. I spent a long time in higher ed in a number of African countries and have been working as I call myself an evaluation action lead globally. I belong to 3 evaluation global networks as I speak, but right now I'm working as the chair of the Africa Gender and Development Evaluators Network. And I invite all of you to join because it is the first network created in 2002 by UNIFEM, then it was UNIFEM, UN Women Now, to basically make sure that evaluations and development projects are gender and human rights responsive. That journey continues, and it is very exciting to see all of you. I actually congratulated Neema when I saw the work done. I must congratulate you because you are the 2%ers. You were only 2% of the total number of people who applied. Great job, fabulous job. But I also think that the people who did this work of selecting have done a fabulous job. Interesting. Going from Ria, who is trying to work to give us a toolkit. And I just want to say that across all of your work, the methodology is sound and it is feminist, and you have a great and fundamental support in Claudia and her team for the feminist and gender responsive part of it. So that for me is perhaps the littlest worry that you would have. You have the support you need in GEI. So all of the toolkits excite me tremendously because that is the gap that we have had. We have tried to work on that as Agden, and it continues to be a problem. That is not the only problem. That's probably one of the smallest technical problems. The greater problem is the culture of resistance. And I'm delighted, especially to have Mahesh in this group, because often when people think gender and gender equality, they think women, and women trying to dethrone men. So just the optics of having Mahesh here is fabulous. And I see that my time is running very quickly, but I had started out looking at the 3 things for each project that blew my mind, but I don't think I have enough time. Probably won't finish if I go into the 3. I think that what Rai is trying to do by looking backwards to move forward is absolutely fantastic, because what we have been doing is working in silos. Even though we talk to one another, we have not, my greatest anxiety is that somebody would come and pull all of this together and shake it out and give us the gems. And you're doing just that. Good luck. I'll be following your every step. Thank you, Ria. Neema, I started doing regional geography in my secondary school, and the Maasai have always been a topic of conversation. But in that topic of conversation, wherever you hear Maasai, is a Maasai man or Maasai man that pops up. So I'm delighted that you have the Maasai basically here today. Taieba, I am absolutely intrigued by your project, and I think it's going to give us one of the keys, the significant keys that we've been looking for. Aidai, I am so delighted that you're culturally responsive and bringing decoloniality and decolonization together with feminism. That is explosive. I'm just not going to stop listening or looking out for you. Finally, Lizette and Mahesh, I think that what you're trying to do is bringing together. Just give me a few more seconds.
Go ahead.
That was okay. You're not only looking at the groups and women's problems, you're looking at the policy, the broad policy picture, which is sometimes difficult to reach as evaluators on women's issues. And the fact that you, Mahesh, bring the capacity of the evaluators into this space with your personal experiences, all of you have absolutely cracked it. My one advice would be the scale. As I listen to you, I'm wondering, some of you, it seems that this is quite a bit to finish. I don't know how much, I can't remember how much the small grants are, but when they say small grants, I don't believe they're 30,000. So, but one. So I'm just saying, sometimes ambition goes before, enthusiasm takes us far, but realism, you must temper your enthusiasm with realism. But you are fabulous. Thank you so much, Claudia, for giving me this opportunity. I hand it back to you. I'm looking forward to the framework for capacity development. All the best.
Thank you very much, Florence, for your time and your wisdom to share. So with this, and allow us to take 5 more minutes that we have initially asked you to, our distinguished audience, because now we're going to hear from Dr. Donna Podems, who's also sharing her remarks. Donna is an evaluation expert and professor with extensive experience in academic production about feminist evaluation. Her work has inspired many of us, including myself, so it's a real pleasure to have you here, Donna. Please share your comments with us and with the awardees. You will have 5 minutes to share, Donna, please.
Thank you for that introduction. I will not take 5 minutes because I do see that we're over time. So let me just summarize very quickly. And for those of you that know my writing, you know I'm very good at synthesis. First, I wanted to thank the funders, GEI, EvalGender Plus, Global Affairs Canada, for supporting all 6 of you. I am so inspired. I am so inspired by your research. And I cannot wait to see the other end when you're actually presenting it. But I'm not sure what that timeline is, but I can't wait to hear it. From your lit reviews, which I think you should not underestimate, those should be shared, those should be synthesized, those should be published. I can't wait to read these lit reviews from around the world on feminist evaluation, to the gaps that you are filling. These gaps are wide, they're so wide, and I'm so excited to see all of you trying to actively fill them, not just from a literature academic perspective, but with the very practical approaches that all 6 of you have taken. What I'm very curious to read about is how you define feminism, feminist approaches, and feminist evaluation in your different contexts. But what I'm most interested to hear about in your next presentation is around your experience trying to implement this very project. What kind of challenges did you have personally in your workspace? Some of you are working in areas of crisis, you're working in local institutions, public institutions, and so on. Those challenges that you have are as important as the toolkits and the workbooks that you're producing. I'm so excited that you're doing this, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Donna, for sharing your views. Always so valuable and inspiring for our colleagues and for us too. So thanks, Florence. Thanks, Donna, for your generosity to share your comments. And thank you very much to each one of the awardees for sharing this today. Congratulations on the award of your projects. And we are going to be working together for 6 months. We're going to be inviting many of you here, evaluation experts, evaluation practitioners, to help us think and think together with the awardees for a learning process. And in 6 more months, by the end of the year, we will share with you the results and this learning process that Donna was just sharing. What did it come out? What were the challenges and what were your learnings from the process? So we're super excited. Please stay tuned. Please participate in the next instances that we will have. We're running out of time. We're 4 minutes more than we planned, and we have a very interesting question from Alejandra and comments from colleagues in the chat. So what we're going to do is that we're going to take that question and the others that come and answer them in a follow-up email, so we don't have you here more of the time that we have initially agreed. Thank you very much to everyone. Again, every participant, every panelist, because we know there's lots of competency during the week, and we're super glad that you honored us with your presence. Congratulations on every awardee. Keep up the good work, and we will be waiting for the results and the learnings from the process. Take good care. Thank you very much to everyone.